We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The bye week is over, and we are back as the Minnesota Vikings this weekend travel to Sin City to take on the formerly Oakland, formerly Los Angeles, now the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a late game, 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, but we got the preview. We got, of course, big news for the week. Justin Jefferson is back and will play this week, 100%. He's not even on the injury report, so he's good to go. We got quarterback talk to go over here. We'll discuss the decision and whether do we think it's the right one? Do we think it's the wrong one? Back, forth, whatever, all else. But
Doc.
Yes, Lance was channeling his inner preppiness during Brunswick's Best this week, but he's back to his normal Brunswickian self, I guess. Good evening, everybody in the chat room. Dave, Drew, Ray, Doc, Ant, my worthless opinion, all you guys. Welcome,
all the regulars,
welcome.
I'm glad to see you tonight. Glad to see all the regulars. And hey, we appreciate every single one of you that make every single episode since the beginning of Vikings Uncensored. I appreciate every single one of you. And the new ones coming in, I appreciate you all to stick around because this is a great show ahead.
Yep. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome again. Make sure you guys hit that like button at some point in time while you're here. Helps us out a ton, both metric-wise, and makes us feel good to see the like buttons too. So,
Bear hair. Hello, Ray. Yes, I'm feeling much better today. Thank you.
So we'll start out with a little bit of news, I guess. Not a whole lot NFL-wide type stuff this week, but of course, the big news, Justin Jefferson is back, as we mentioned. They had to pull him off of his 21-day window shortly after the Bears game 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, they'd lost him for the year.
Right. 5 fucking weeks left, man. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Don't
5 weeks for all the marbles.
That's right. It's 5-week season, brothers and sisters.
Yep. Good evening, James. But then, of course, with Jefferson coming back, he did his little presser thing earlier this week. At the beginning of the year, he said his goal was 2,000 yards receiving. Of course, that is out the window now. So he revised that. His goal now is, he said, 1,000 yards and making sure the team makes the playoffs. So,
honestly, when Jefferson left us, that's when things were pretty gloomy and we weren't winning many games. Jefferson put out that little meme a few weeks back saying, "I can't wait to play with this team." No.
Okay.
But yeah, Jefferson, he's on a team that is hot. We laid 2 eggs the last 2 weeks, but damn it, let's get going. 5 more weeks.
Yeah. To Drew's comment here, Lance has trouble pronouncing Smith. We all know that, so we're not we're not going to have him pronounce DJ ukulele there, ukulele or whatever his name there.
Ukulele,
Yeah.
Udalali, something like that.
Oodalali, dude.
Hey. All right.
Ooga chaka, yeah, there we go.
Ooga chaka.
Yeah, Brother Dave, we know Lance cannot even pronounce Metellus, and you can't spell Metellus, but that's all well and good.
Something in the family.
Yeah, it's got to be a Brunswick. It's got to be a Brunswick thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Anyway, other injury news. When Brian Flores had his presser, I believe it was yesterday, the Vikings expressed some hope that linebacker Jordan Hicks may be back before the end of the season as well. He had that compartmental something or another from that severe shin contusion he got a few weeks back. Pretty serious stuff. They said if he hadn't had the surgery, that could have potentially lost the leg from it. But just the fact that they're even saying he might be back is a good thing. So we'll see from that. But then let's move on to, of course, the A topic of the night. The Vikings.
Take that comment down. Take that comment down. Take that comment down. It's been up for 5 minutes.
Good there. Josh, yeah, we can hit that one while we're here. What do we think of Anthony Barr so far?
I like him in the rotation. Honestly, I like him almost more now in the rotational role than what he was when he was starting.
Yeah, I mean, he's made a few plays here and here and there. Yeah, I thought that's how you pronounced it here, but I wasn't sure either. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Barr, because I think didn't Barr get a fumble recovery against the Bears?
He did. He did have one. Yes.
I thought that. Now I know there's been discussion this week, a couple of rumors that the Cowboys are looking for some linebacker help, and there was talk that he could be poached off the Vikings practice squad. Has not happened as of yet. I would assume we're good for this week anyway. After
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not. Anthony Barr is a fill-in guy for this year. I was fine letting him go when we let him go 2 years ago. And I'm fine bringing him back for the remainder
of the season, but
I mean,
talk about anything in the future.
At least until Jordan Hicks comes back.
Right.
But I mean, he's done what we've asked him to do, be a bit player and rotational guy so far, and he's still capable of doing that. So Vikings are in a must-win, don't blow it. It was almost a must-win last week against the Bears and Denver as well.
I love the way this is brought up now. Like, it kind of is. But I tell you what, I have this wrote down here. If this year exactly, I don't think I felt more like the bye week couldn't have came at a better. This team was in dire need of a bye week.
Yeah.
This team was in dire need of a bye week, and I think the bye week came at the best time in the season this year. It couldn't have came at a better time. We just laid 2 eggs. Josh, Dobbs Shank redemption this week, in my opinion. Kevin O'Connell went back. You cannot tell me that the guy did not go back and watch tape from the season. And see, you got to let Josh Dobbs be Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. So, and for James's question here, perfect lead in to the quarterback situation. Of course, on Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it was, of course, Josh Dobbs was announced that he will remain the starter. How long of a leash does he get? That remains to be seen.
And I think a lot of that goes on O'Connell's shoulders, though, too. Call plays to your player's strengths, and that goes for your quarterback, too, as far as rolling him out, getting him on some wiggles, running some run pass options. Don't tell me that you can't. You've been playing football your entire life. You've been around the game. You can't install some fucking run option plays in your playbook for the week in the game plan.
Well,
or add a few wrinkles.
They did it against Arizona and the first half against New Orleans. I mean, they know how so it's possible to do it. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next bullet point I was talking about here. Kevin O'Connell in his presser was either yesterday or today, I forget which one, but said that the offensive coaching staff has been using this bye week to work on developing a scheme that basically the quote was develop a scheme to help Dobbs thrive.
I love it. And it's not to help Dobbs, it's to play to his strengths. It's not to help him.
Right.
You don't turn Dobbs into a pocket passer. You let Dobbs do Dobbs-like things, like Ravens let Jackson do Jackson-like things.
Yep. And that's the thing, that you start. I'm going to reserve judgment on because O'Connell said this kind of stuff before, and then we still end up rolling out the same goddamn stuff every week. But yeah, if we start doing some RPOs, get him on bootlegs, roll him out, get him out of the pocket, move him around, let him use his legs and then
let him freelance a little bit. Give him some leeway to look. You look at Jefferson covered, you look at Addison covered, you look at Hawkinson covered. Fucking run, tuck it and go, boy.
Yep. Good evening, Truman. Good evening, Stephen. But yeah, as far as back to the question of how long of a leash Dobbs has, if he can keep from turning the ball over, I think, they'll let him go and let him run unless he's completely stinking the joint up. But if he has another performance like he did against the Bears where starts just tossing the ball straight up in the air and letting the defenders pick it off and things like that, I don't think he's going to be in there very long.
The return of Justin Jefferson is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I know people are kind of
it can only help
at a wait and see type of thing here right now. But with Addison getting first receiver reps the last 7 weeks,
yeah,
and now Jefferson coming back and taking over that one role, and you're going to see a team that's hungry and this team needs to come out and flex this week on the Raiders.
Yeah. To go back, Anthony's question here, I'm not sure what he's talking about. Farva, but Aiden O'Connell is going to start this week. Garoppolo's not playing.
No. Their superstar defensive end rusher Matt Crosby, right?
Max Crosby, yeah.
He has not been participating at all this week in practice, but that was the same thing last week against Kansas City.
He has not practiced since November 17th, but he hasn't missed any time yet.
Exactly. I look for him to play.
Yeah, Ant, I know Farva's from Super Troopers, but I didn't get the Farva to Aiden O'Connell reference. But yeah, Matt, I fully expect Crosby to play. He was listed as questionable on the injury report today. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But when we looked at the Raiders earlier in the season, when Josh McDaniels was the head coach, this was looking like it was probably going to be a pretty easy game. But of course, McDaniels is no longer in Las Vegas. He might still be in Las Vegas, but he's no longer a member of the Las Vegas Raiders anyway. But of course, interim coach Antonio Pierce has the Raiders playing better.
He does. He does.
So
will they keep Antonio Pierce at coach? Probably not. But I'd like to see Pierce get the long-term job.
Yeah. Now I heard something the other day that they are looking at going back to their interim coach last year, who should have, or 2 years ago, who should after
Bisaccia?
Rich Bisaccia.
They should have never went after. Should have never went after the snake, man, at all.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't have hired McDaniels in the first place. I thought Bisaccia should have gotten the job at that time. Now, would he go back?
I don't know, but that Raiders team that he brought to the playoffs had no business being there, and that says enough about him taking over at that time and getting them there to that point.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled them out of that shit show that they had when Gruden left, and he had them playing quite well in that last part of the season, made the playoffs, and I think he deserves a crack again sometime, but.
Yeah, Max Crosby's a fucking animal, dude, for sure.
He's a beast. Swelled up 6 times its size. Yeah.
He's a player you want in your locker room, man, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of those old school guys that prides himself on not missing games. I mean, it's
he walks it like he talks it, bro. He walks it like he talks it for sure. Like he could talk and walk the walk. He does it. He does it all. Big time for that Raiders defense.
It's not Jim Marshall skydiving and a shoot not opening or shooting himself in the leg with a shotgun and playing the next game, but
this is a tough man for sure.
But yeah, Max Crosby's a hell of a player, and he's a badass. Nothing but
doesn't
respect
get talked
for the
about
guy.
enough, in my opinion. It's underrated. But other opposing offensive coordinators know that he's there. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. But since we're talking about injuries here, we can roll into the final injury report came out here later this afternoon. The Vikings actually are fairly healthy. Most of the guys that were on early in the week were all off the final injury report. We only had 2 left on there. Ed Ingram he's listed as questionable. He's got a hip something or another. I don't know if he got that in practice or what, but he showed up on the report on Wednesday with limited participation. I think he was limited today as well, but they have him listed as questionable. Theo Jackson is the only other one on the injury report. He's listed as questionable as well, but I think he was a full participant today. So,
yeah. With Drew's comment there at the bottom, yeah.
Yep.
Whatever happened to the Brandel set? Bringing in Brandel as an extra blocker. Why don't we bring that back?
We may have to. I mean,
that's great. If you can't get the run game going, figure it out. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. That's what we did last year because our run game was suffering. We brought in Brandel for an extra blocker so we can get that run game going. Do it again.
Yeah. The only thing now, if of course, if Ed Ingram does not play on Sunday, Brandel will be our right guard. So, yeah,
I think all this hoopla about the O-line, by all reports, our O-line's a top 10 unit in the league this year. So something is not right, but I don't believe it's absolutely all on the offensive line because, I mean, our offensive line has been rated highly throughout the entire season by many, 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 many sports statistic places.
Yeah, well, PFF still has them listed top 5.
Yeah. So something's up. I mean, I see it, but at the same time, then they're grading out fantastic. Is the quarterback holding on to the ball too long? Is he getting out of the pocket when he should? I don't know what it is, but
that was a lot of it against the Bears, I think. And this goes back to, again, coaching. because I mean, we all saw it. They were trying to make Josh Dobbs a pocket passer against the Bears, and it blew up in their face.
That's what I'm saying. You know how they used to say, let Russ cook? That's basically what it is with Josh Dobbs. Let him do his thing.
Yep.
Let him be Josh Dobbs. Because if you don't, you're going to – if you don't, you're just seeing what fucking happens if you try to make him something else.
Yeah. Instead of let Russ cook, we got to let the pastor not launch on this one here and just let him do his own thing.
Exactly. I don't put that last game all on Dobbs. By the time the ceiling started to crack, it fucking caved in shortly after that.
Yeah. I am not absolving Dobbs of blame for the Bears game because
Bingo, Drew. Yes.
He could have had 6 interceptions because there was a couple of them that were not tip passes or whatever that he threw terrible decisions and should have been intercepted that luckily the defender dropped them.
By the time that he started doing that, he was already out of rhythm and trying to make him do things he's not made for, as far as that play style goes. And by that time, it's fucking, you might as well just packed it in and put Mullins in at that point. I'm not putting that on Dobbs. I'm putting that on O'Connell.
No. Yeah, and they should have. O'Neal was a turnstile against the Bears. Yeah, that was one of the worst games I've seen Brian O'Neal play in a long time.
I'm not pissed at Dobbs. I'm not. Yeah,
I'm not happy with him.
You know what? Even the greatest quarterbacks even some Hall of Fame quarterbacks out there have had fucking bad games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody throws a stinker up there once in a while, even Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in his prime and those guys, but Josh, let's be honest, Josh Dobbs is not one of the greats. He's been on 7 teams for a reason.
Right. That's true. That's true. But you know what? The time is now. The time is now.
And let's go
out and get it done.
Yeah.
The guy's a fucking rocket scientist. I know. We all know that. But he can get the job done.
Yeah.
He can. We're not gonna not make the playoffs because we got Josh Dobbs at quarterback. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And if that's the case, it's because we got Kevin O'Connell coaching this fucking team. And I hate to throw shade at O'Connell, but you know what? God damn it, it's the truth.
Yeah, Peyton threw 4 interceptions in a game. Peyton Manning threw a shit ton of interceptions his rookie year.
The game was different back then too. I mean,
it was. There
wasn't so many expectations so quickly on these young guys back then as there is right now.
No, that's the thing. It's the expectations now. These guys come in. I mean, look at Carolina, for instance. Everybody's already labeling Bryce Young as a bust because they've had a bad season. Well,
I honestly think when Manning came in, the passing game was really starting to evolve and was really starting to become a pass-first league. Was just the beginnings of that when Manning came into the league, honestly.
Yeah. No, you're right.
What you got on there, Ryno?
What I got next? My paper was falling off the side here. I had to move it so I can still read my notes while I'm talking here. Panthers organization is a dumpster fire. Yes, it is. David Tepper is an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready to play today.
My opinion on the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to make one comment here, and then we'll move back on to more important stuff. But David Tepper is an incompetent dipshit when it comes to hiring and everything else. I mean, they've had 7, I think it is, different head coaches, including their interim guys, since he took over the team in 2019. 7.
Yeah. Carolina is, since they made the Super Bowl, they have been nothing but a dumpster fire.
I mean, just the last couple of
They've
years,
had
it's just been to the point.
They've got the 7-year hangover from the Super Bowl. That's pretty bad.
Well, like I said, it's gotten to the fact, demand instant results, and to a point, we see that in the fan base, with the issues and stuff. People are calling for Kevin O'Connell's head. They're calling for Quasi's head, all this other stuff.
I'm not happy with O'Connell, but I understand that this is his second year coaching this team. I love the guy, but you know what? The more you coach, the more you learn, and that's when you decide what it is. He's still finding himself as a coach as well, I believe.
He is. Now,
he has this team believing, though, and the culture, you can see it. You can see the culture change. There's just some things about himself that he needs to get figured out and then move forward with and continue to get better and, lead this team in the right direction. I'm not ready to give up on him yet.
No, I'm not either. Do I think that there needs to be a possible discussion about him giving up play calling duties and just focusing on, the overall being the CEO of the team and running the game stuff and letting, Wes Phillips call plays or whatever? I think that discussion has to be on the table.
I agree. I say you play the season out first, and then that discussion is on the table. That's my opinion. Don't bring that discussion in mid-season. You've already rolled with him for 11 games, and he's your head coach. Just let it ride out, and then at the end of the year, that's when you put those discussions on the table.
Yeah. And, let's be honest, up until Cousins got hurt, there were still issues there, but, but I guess better players cover up a lot of warts too.
That's true.
For the arguments pro and con that we've had for the last 6-7 years on Kirk Cousins, if Kirk would have been the quarterback the last 2 weeks.
Prior to O'Connell coming here, I had no faith in Kirk Cousins as our quarterback. And that tells you enough right there. Because O'Connell has gotten the best version of Kirk Cousins since he has been in the league.
Yeah. This is a very good point, Dave. No, the Wilfs do not have a quick trigger finger. They're not going to be one of those guys, and because they know whether they're going to say it publicly or not, which they're not saying it publicly. They know that this team needs to have a rebuild, and it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get to that point.
And it's been exactly as advertised. It has been a competitive rebuild, Ryno.
Yep, it is. And the competitive rebuild would look a lot better, if we hadn't been without Justin Jefferson for 7 weeks, now Kirk Cousins for a month.
If we haven't had to have heart attacks for the last, going on 20-something weeks since O'Connell's been here, it's been out. Every single game has been entertaining, to say the least, in O'Connell's tenure.
Yeah, I would, but when we've talked about this multiple times, I still would love to have a couple of games where we put the thing away and just keep the foot on the gas, so we don't end up having to sit there and chew on glass midway through the fourth quarter because
you know what though, the people are they're putting that meme up with Scooby Doo with taking the mask off of the bad guy, and you got Zimmer and O'Connell there. The difference between Mike Zimmer and Kevin O'Connell is Zimmer was a stubborn old bastard that was intent on not changing. Not taking anything away from what he does, never having accountability, throwing players under the bus. I believe O'Connell is the opposite. He's going to see what he did wrong. He's going to change things, and he's looking to get better and evolve with the game.
Yeah, this comment, though, that Drew just made, I agree with this 100%. I think it seems to me a lot of times Kevin O'Connell is too much of that nice guy, too much of the gentlemanly stuff. We're out ahead. We're a comfortable lead, like it was against New Orleans. We were out, 24-3 lead at halftime, and we end up a failed Hail Mary away from losing that game. It's keep your foot on the gas.
And I think that bulliness or something that, punching the bully back, I believe that will come with time as he's, as he grows as a coach as well.
Well,
just like, it took 3 years just for this team to become Kirk's team. And I feel like it's going to take about 3 years, you know, in all reality, for this team to really have Kevin O'Connell's imprint into it. And then I think he's going to get, that's going to come. That toughness, mental toughness is going to come for O'Connell as far as being able to be a little bit, you know, tough love on some of these guys.
Well, I mean, personally, I think it's something that you have or you don't have. Can you learn it? Probably. But I mean, look at Mike McDaniel down in Miami. They threw 70 up on him.
I love me some Mike McDaniel. I love Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of my picks for, you know, when the Vikings hired O'Connell. I was kind of hoping that McDaniels would have been our guy, but then Miami went and hired him. But Dave with a good comment here. Dave Stefano, good evening again. Tell Flores to stick around for another season or two with a possible shot at HC. I don't know that they're going to say that and undermine Kevin O'Connell, but I am fully in favor of doing whatever it takes to keep Brian Flores around here for at least another year.
I think a lot of people have it in the bag that he's gone, but I don't think so. I think it's a decision he's thinking about, but I think ultimately we got Flores for another year.
I hope we do.
I'm not going to bank on it, but I have a feeling that this isn't his only season with us.
Now, my personal opinion, you back up a Brinks truck to his garage and start shoveling money into it. He wants to be.
Coaches don't count against the cap, do they?
No.
Yeah, you give the guy what he wants.
Make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. If he wants to be, get the assistant head coach title, give him that. Do whatever it takes. I mean, we'll see the numbers when we get into the
impact this guy was going to have on this team. We knew that. I mean, and a lot of you other Vikings fans did too, obviously. But this guy, it's night and day. Well, speaking of which, this is a playoff fucking defense, Ryno. That's what it is. This defense is made for the playoffs right now. This defense is ready to fucking go. We just need the offense to start complementing this unit.
Yeah. Well, over the last 6 weeks, the Vikings defense is like third or fourth best in the league.
And I think the thing is O'Connell's like, okay, we held him to a field goal. That's okay. All right, we held him to a field goal. But you know what? Those fucking field goals start adding up.
Well, yeah, Chicago beat us without scoring a touchdown.
No, man. You got to. And then I'm really thinking and hoping that O'Connell went back and this bye week came at the best time and he was able to go back and look at all the season as a whole and make the best decisions moving forward for the next 5 weeks.
I hope so.
You got your best player coming back. You got your best player, arguably the best player in the league coming back on offense. And this is exactly what this offense needs. You can't tell me that Jefferson is not juiced up and ready to go for this game. You can't tell me that Mr. Showtime is not ready to show up and show out this next coming game. With all the monkeys on his back in the last 7 weeks, why haven't you been back? Why are you sitting on the sideline nursing it? He's ready to go this week against the Raiders.
Yeah. Now my concern is, will Dobbs be able to get it to him? I mean, we saw him, that throw to Jordan Addison against the Bears when the defender fell down and Addison didn't have anybody within 30 yards of him and he threw the ball too high and ended up pulling him out of bounds.
Addison could have made that play though too. Jefferson would have made that play. But you know what?
I don't know that they would have.
Pick the ball up and let him go get it. Put the ball where only Justin Jefferson can get the ball.
Yeah, but when you have nobody within 30 yards of you, you have to put the ball.
It was embarrassing. But by that
at a closer point. You have to remember, Addison's 5'11". He's not 6'5".
Right. By that time, I think it was the game was already done, in my opinion, as far as on offense goes.
That comment right there, Drew, that's what I was getting to earlier. How do you fire a coach that's taking your team to playoffs first 2 years? You can't. And
you don't.
With everything that's happened this year,
You don't.
Losing Justin Jefferson for 7 weeks, losing Kirk for over half the season, losing, your big.
This league has got way too trigger happy. This league has got way too trigger happy, and they expect way too much, way too fast. Be grateful that we have the guy that can get us to the fucking playoffs for the first 2 years of his coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, we're not there yet. We haven't qualified for the playoffs yet, so let's pump the brakes on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, with all the shit that's gone on this year, you're not going to fire the coach. Yeah, because it's not O'Connell's fault that Jefferson pulled a hammy and was out for 7 weeks. It's not O'Connell's fault that Kirk tore his Achilles and ended up being out for the year. It's not Kirk's fault that Marcus Davenport has been a no-show for 90% of the season and probably won't be back, because I haven't heard shit about him in 7 weeks.
You know what? A lot of other teams would have just called it a season.
Oh yeah, they'd have packed it in and then
doing the guys,
doing the tank for Caleb or Drake May or whoever. Yeah,
but we're out there fighting still, and I know these guys want to make the playoffs, and you can just see it. And the thing is the flashes of brilliance that we have seen this year from this team at certain points. It's just keeping that brilliant play consistent.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at it back when Mike Zimmer was head coach here. When something bad happened to this team, they folded like a cheap tent.
Yes, we folded up quicker than quick. Honestly, when Zimmer was here, yes, if something happened and went wrong, that was it. We were done.
Yep.
Almost every time, but with O'Connell, I never feel like I'm out of the game unless it gets to like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter and you're down by 3 points or whatever. I feel a lot more competitive with the guys leading the team right now than what I did with Zimmer in the later years.
Well, even Zimmer in the prime, this team did not have the cojones to be able to pull themselves back out of a hole from something bad happening.
No. Defense doesn't score points a lot of the time in this league, and we all know that. But that third down defense that Zimmer installed for a couple of years here was pretty dominating.
But Zimmer was also of the kind, he only wanted the offense to do just enough to score just enough points to let his defense win the game. It wasn't a
right, and then
it was never a joint effort from the offense and the defense when Zimmer was here to try to win games.
It wasn't.
And we're starting to get that with O'Connell and Flores here.
And that's why O'Connell brought Flores in, was just for that. So it's coming, guys. Just got to be patient.
Yeah. Would play calling be any different with Wes Phillips? I don't know. Does Wes have more of a killer instinct than O'Connell does? Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
Keep calling what works, man. Just keep calling what works. Keep calling what works. Keep calling something that works until they can't stop it.
And stop calling the shit that never works.
Quit pussyfooting around the bush and do what works.
Yeah, quit the
tight
end.
You got to throw it 100 times a game to win, and you fucking win comfortably, and do it.
Yeah, but quit with the tight end screens and all that crap that never works. Just
why can't we get a good quick slant game going? We got the receivers for it. I hate that. I don't think I see quick slants from our team ever.
No, we don't run a lot of slants.
They used to do it against us all the time, and you know what? They take quite a few of those to the house, man. How many catches did Greg Jennings have across the middle against us? Well, take it to the house.
Yeah, look back in those days. The Green Bay ran those running back screens and those little wheel routes and stuff out there over and over and over and over again, and they always freaking worked.
And the quick slants to Jennings or Driver or whoever it may be, the Randall Cobb.
Yep.
Why can't we run some quick slants, goddammit, and some run pass options around here? What's a guy got to do?
Well, hopefully they figured that out during the bye week here, because
he said he's tweaking this offense to the better fit Dobbs as the quarterback. Well, let's see it, man.
Yep. Case in point, Drew coming with fire tonight with the comments here. Inside the 20, Alex Madison, 23 rushes, 21 yards. Why do we keep doing it?
That's fucking ridiculous.
run Ty Chandler down there. Do something else. CJ Ham. I don't care what you do, but
Dwayne McBride, somebody.
Yeah, McBride hasn't been called up, but that's not saying he can't be. But
I'd call him up.
I don't care who runs the ball, but
down everybody's throat when it's not working to be. It's as clear as day.
I don't care who's running the ball. But to Drew's comment there, 0.9 yards per carry inside the red zone is inexcusable. Absolutely fucking inexcusable.
Yeah. Get creative.
Yeah.
Get creative. Throw Darisaw at tight end. Do a run around.
Let's leave Darisaw at left tackle. We need Darisaw left tackle.
Put him in motion, man. Give him the ball. Have him go up the middle.
Well, they used to kick Randall McDaniel in as a blocker once in a while. So
yeah. Do something where you're like, whoa. Make sure it works though.
Yeah. But anyway, here, let's roll over to our tail of the tape here stuff quick to kind of do our weekly comparison of the Vikings versus their opponent. Starting off with the offense, as we always do. Total yards, the Vikings are 15th in the league. The Raiders are 28th. Of course, yeah, they're, for the longest part, Jimmy Garoppolo did not have that team moving. Aiden O'Connell, is he any better? I don't really think so, but
I think Pierce has sparked the team, and I think the switch to O'Connell.
He has, but I think it's more their defense is playing better than it is Aiden O'Connell. Right. Aiden O'Connell, Jimmy Garoppolo, neither one of them is a franchise quarterback.
That Josh Jacobs is no fucking pushover though either. He's no slouch. He's no one been able to bust a big one here and there.
Yeah, well, and he's already over 1,000 yards this year, so yeah, he's a guy we're going to have to keep an eye on, of course. Scoring offense, the Vikings are still 11th in the league. The Raiders are 29th. So back to the point we're just making, they're not scoring a lot of points. So
personnel-wise, Devontae Adams has been known to give us headaches.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Now, Caleb Evans being back this week helps that.
Not that Blackman didn't do very well in his.
But Blackman gave up that touchdown against Denver. He misplayed
against Sutton. Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks, not worried.
I know. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love that stat line. That's great. Yep.
Let's hope by Sunday it's like 4 touchdowns and 9 picks.
Recent history, this defense has done very well against rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, anyways, continue your tale of your tape.
Yep. Passing offenses, the Vikings are sitting at 6th. Raiders are at 22nd.
Passing offense 6th, but yeah, we try to run. And they're not creative runs; they're the same type of runs.
Yeah.
Anyways, rushing offense. What are we there?
We are at 28th, but the Raiders are 31st, which is interesting because Josh Jacobs.
Wow.
Josh Jacobs is over 1,000 yards rushing, and they're
How
still 31st.
How the fuck does that work? How does that work?
I don't know. I think the collective rest of the team has 2 yards or something. I don't know.
My.
Turnovers, though. The Raiders are 26th in the league in turnovers, so they do turn the ball over a shit ton. Not as much as us, though, because we are 31st in the league in turnovers. We are tied with Cleveland with for the worst in the league as far as turning the ball over.
Is the biggest stat as to why we are where we are right now. Big fucking circle around that.
Yeah, because we brought that stat up a couple weeks ago. Kevin O'Connell's like 16 and 3.
Love it.
16 and 3 when we win the turnover battle, and like 3 and 10 now when we lose the turnover battle.
Another good point right there under Brian's. This has been, as long as I can remember watching our team play outside of the 98 season, this rings true.
Yeah, and this isn't the Kevin O'Connell thing. This wasn't the Mike Zimmer thing. It was a Vikings thing.
Yes.
But anyway, on to the defensive side of things. Now, this is where things get a little more interesting. Scoring defenses. The Vikings are up to 7th in the league in scoring defense right now.
Playoff defense, Ryno.
Yep. The Raiders are 17th. Total yards. Vikings are 12th in the league.
Playoff defense.
Raiders are 20th. Rushing defense. Oh, sorry. Passing defense first. The Raiders are 12th. Vikings are 16th.
Middle of the pack, which is what we asked for.
Yeah, exactly what we asked for. Rushing defense. Vikings are 7th in the league in rushing defense.
Better than we asked for and better than we anticipated.
Yeah, because that was a major point of contention last year.
It was a big question mark. After that DeAndre Swift trampoline by the Eagles, I was concerned. But you know what? My concerns have been quelled somewhat.
Yep.
But for the most part.
Right. Turnovers. Vikings are 16th in the league in causing turnovers. Raiders are down at 26, so they don't cause a lot of them. We've gotten better at it. Sacks. Vikings are 17th in the league in sacks. Of course, Danielle Hunter with 13.5. He sits 3rd in the league at this moment. I think he's 1.5 behind the lead, so he could very easily catch back up.
Right.
Vegas is 22nd in sacks. Pressures. Vikings are 15th in the league in pressures now. They have 107 pressures this year. Raiders are 31st in causing pressures, which is kind of interesting. As good of a player as Max Crosby has been in, where
he's the only one getting pressures, man.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case. Nobody else is.
And honestly, with Flores, what an innovator! What an innovator at defensive coordinator. I know we've spoken extremely highly of Flores tonight, and rightfully so.
Speaking of which,
perfect. Right. Speaking of which, Drew. But yeah, that freaking 3 safety set, which I mentioned before the season, and Ryno has alluded to as well, has been huge, and it's different. It's a different look in this league. Bringing that I mean, it's been used by other teams before. Don't get me wrong, but not as often as it has been this year. And putting Metellus, there I go. See, prove me right. Metellus. What a year that kid has had. That guy is like he's like damn near the most valuable player outside of Hunter on our defense.
Yeah. Well, and that's
he doesn't necessarily play safety. You got him playing linebacker. You got him playing corner. You got him playing safety. He's basically a rover, like in baseball.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, and that was the thing. There was a interview. I think that this was last week. During the bye stuff, they were talking to Harrison Smith about Flores, and he made the comment, that Flores comes up there and he just confuses the hell out of everybody. He said there was one game earlier this year. Hitman said he could hear one of the defensive coaches every play calling, "I got you. We got you. You know what you're doing. What we're doing," and he was wrong every time.
Yep.
We talked about the illusion of complexity last year. This year, we're showing that illusion of complexity, especially on defense.
Flores is taking these young guys that were here in the twilight of the Zimmer era, and he's doing what Zimmer should have been able to do with these guys. This is what's showing you the night and day difference as far as coaching goes, and how far coaching can take you.
You're 100% correct on that. He's
getting the most out of every single guy that is playing this year on that defense.
Yep. That was, a lot of this came from the Pitt Panthers because when Flores was linebackers coach with the Steelers last year, they share a practice facility with Pitt. And that was, he said he sat down with the defensive guys from Pitt and watched film together and all this other stuff. And yeah, that's a lot of where Flores' stuff came from. I mean, he had some of this beforehand too, but he brought in a lot of wrinkles that Pitt runs in college. And it's something new to the NFL, and teams haven't adjusted to it yet. Will it,
I best defensive coordinator in the league by far this year, in my opinion. Flores.
I mean, the guy, to Drew's point he made earlier, taking the 32nd ranked run defense last year, making it 7th this year, taking a defense that was absolutely horrid for 90% of the season.
I bet he plays chess.
Yeah.
Dude's a genius, man. He's a great
and we talked about the aggressiveness, earlier in the season, the blitz percentages, they were up around 57% at one point in time. Now
mad scientist. There's a means to his madness, man.
Yeah. Now, as the season has gone on, we've blitzed a lot less. We've been getting pressure with the front, rushing 3 or 4. I mean, we're still blitzing at a 47% clip, so it's still significantly higher than most other teams in the league.
I don't know. I'm pretty impressed with what Pace is bringing to the table this year at linebacker there, Brian. I mean,
yeah, I do. I do. Ivan Pace, he plays the chip on his shoulder. That kid is good, and he's only going to get better. I mean,
and he's gotten better as the season's gone on.
Yeah. Case in point, Jordan Hicks, end of last year, every single one of us was ready to send him packing down the road.
Yeah.
The guy was playing at damn near a Pro Bowl level until he got hurt.
Prime level years right now at the age that he's at.
Yeah.
Under Flores' direction. That's an underrated guy. As far as that's flying under the window, as far as his comeback this year yet, Hicks, which we alluded to earlier in the episode. That's going to be big too. Hicks back. I
do have one question.
I'm not a big fan of Troy Dye. For all you that don't know, I'm not a Troy Dye fan.
We all know that. I have a question though. When you're talking about Hicks, how do you fly under a window?
I meant to say radar.
Okay.
Radar. Yeah. You can always fly under a window. I mean, whatever.
You've only got about yay much space. You kind of hit that wall underneath there, but. Drew comment here, is Hicks coming back in 2023?
Yes.
I think stands a very good chance. We talked about that earlier, that Flores had made the comment that they're hoping he can be back before the end of the season. I'd like to see him, in those last couple of weeks, at least, the Green Bay and Detroit games. We could definitely use him at that point, because realistically, we're going to have to win at least one of those games against Detroit. I think either that, or we got to win the next 2 and then beat Green Bay, which we should beat Green Bay anyway. But still have a lot of work to do on defense. But
Swade, that's hilarious.
We do, but just the job that they've done just in 1 year turnaround on this defense. I mean, we expected a turnaround. I mean, I made the comment, at the beginning of the season, and I thought Flores himself was probably worth about 6 or 7 positions moving up the defense. And they've far exceeded even what I expected. I was saying if we could be 15-20 at the end of the year, I'd be happy with that. Like I said, over the last 6-7 weeks, we've been one of the top 5 defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Can't trust the group make a big stop against a good O with the game on the line.
Hey, if the other team's coming from where they should be and not giving good field position, I 100% trust that this defense can get the job done. When you put them on a short field and you can't have your defense win you every fucking single game. You can't. You can't have your defense. You can't expect 100% for your defense to shut the offense down every single drive, and you shouldn't have to.
No.
You shouldn't have to.
And that's the thing, you know what?
Damn good.
Our offense, especially lately, the last couple of games, hasn't been staying on the field, so the defense, by the end of the game, is getting gassed.
And 100% understandably.
Yeah.
This defense has been fucking lights out the last 5 weeks. But when your defense has to run 13, 14 series a game, they're going to get fucking tired by the end of the game. And when they're playing on a short field at the end of the game, and coming up after just getting off the field and having to come back on 30 seconds later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Drew's comment here. We'll get back to James here in just a second. But defense has played good enough to have won 11 games. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Offense has been the problem.
This is a playoff defense.
Yep. We'll roll back to James's comment here. And this is a good segue into our predictions segment. Of course, where we look at not only the Vikings games coming up in the weekend, but also our rivals in the NFC North. Since he brought up Jordan Love and the fact that he's getting all the love now, I mean, the national media was just waiting for this because I think they all went into withdrawals, not being able to slobber over the Green Bay Packers for most of the season. But Monday night, now this is kind of interesting with the scheduling. If I looked at the schedule right, we have a doubleheader on Monday. And one of those games is Green Bay traveling to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants.
Whoop-de-doo!
Yeah. Green Bay has a pretty cupcake schedule for the rest of the season.
They do. I mean, that is a cream puff schedule for sure.
Yeah. What do you think on Packers Giants this week?
I mean, the Giants, I thought the Packers were a dumpster fire, and I think the Giants are a dumpster. Now I think the Giants are a dumpster fire, but the Green Bay is starting to get it together. And Jordan Love is starting to look, like he's progressing as far as ability goes throughout the season towards the end, Do I think when we face Green Bay that would beat them? Yeah, I do. But this week against the Giants, I'm pretty sure the Packers are going to take out the Giants.
Yeah. I mean, you got, again, Love is playing better. I have to give him that.
Might not have Christian Watson for a little bit of time, though, which is also something to think about.
What's that?
Christian Watson might be out for a little bit too.
Injured again, which is going to make a difference. But, of course, the Giants, like you mentioned, are an absolute dumpster fire. They got Danny DeVito playing quarterback.
Danny DeVito.
Danny Dimes still not playing. Not that great even when he was playing, but Green Bay is hot right now. I mean, they've rattled off 3 wins in a row or whatever, 4 wins in a row. I think they make it another one this weekend. I would love to see the Giants step up and
that'd be great.
Knock them down, especially with playoff rankings being where they're at. But I'm hoping we can get an Anthony Tollison jinx of Green Bay this weekend. So
what's that?
I said I'm hoping we get an Anthony Tollison jinx of Green Bay this weekend.
That'd be nice.
So Ant, start talking up Jordan Love, please, or showering the Packers in general, as our buddy Drew would say, with some hot buttery nut rubs.
Collinsworth was already fitting Jordan Love for his gold jacket last week on.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he was giving a full.
Look at that release. Oh, look at Favre's release. Look at Aaron Rodgers' release. Oh, they're all the same.
The amount of verbal fellatio that was going on with Collinsworth last weekend was just sickening. But yeah, so I think Green Bay is going to win too, unfortunately. So that just keeps the pressure on us to, the other NFC North game this week the Lions go to Chicago to play the Bears. What do you think here?
I hope with the Bears beating us last week and having a little bit of a spark to their offense, I'm hoping the Bears can come out and steal one from the Lions. They almost did already earlier in the year, and I think the Bears can do it. I think they do.
Yeah, the Bears should have beat Detroit a couple weeks ago, and it just that last falling apart in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yes, Bears upset the Lions, I believe, too. Yes, and I think that Lions team is kind of losing some steam, to be honest with you, the way it looks of it.
Yeah, there's some cracks showing in that team. They're not quite what they were. Can the Bears beat the Lions? I think they can.
Yeah.
Do I think they're going to? This is a tough game for me to call. Detroit should win this game.
They should.
Are they going to? In Chicago, we know what a house of horrors that place is. It's going to be cold. Detroit they're a dome team. They're going to be playing outside. It's not super cold this weekend, so probably not as big of a.
Very true, James.
Yeah, especially that back end of their defense has been bad lately. So I think it's going to be a close game.
That offensive line has been leaky lately too, which is very uncharacteristic of Detroit.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think Chicago is going to have an opportunity to win this game, but I think in the end, Detroit ultimately does win it.
All right, I got Chicago. You got Detroit.
Of course. Then we go to, of course, the most important game of the weekend, the Minnesota Vikings at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders at 3:05 p.m. Central Time. The floor is yours, Mr. Brunswick.
Like I said, I think the bye week couldn't have came at a better time than it did. We were in dire need of it. And we laid 2 eggs, but we've also won 2 with the guy that we got leading the team right now. I'm kind of glad that we stuck with Dobbs. Live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing. I personally did not want to see Mullins take over this offense. If it was my decision, I might have thought about throwing Hall out there again to see. Sticking with Dobbs. And if we come up with a game plan that suits his style, we're gonna win some games. I like that. I like that, Jeremy, for sure. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And that's what, like I said, JJ is gonna come into this game pumped the fuck up. And a lot of it's gonna change a lot of things, and it's gonna change things on defense. This is the first time a lot of defenses are gonna see Addison at his best and Jefferson back as the number 1 guy on this team. Mm-hmm. And then that's, as far as the quarterback rushing goes, that's going to be tough on the defense, because those guys go out on their routes. Somebody's going to have to peel off to come up and either go after Dobbs, and Dobbs is going to go over the top, or Dobbs is going to take off with it and go for 15. That's the type of stuff you need to be working on offense.
Right.
And you can't tell me that Jefferson did not have somewhat of a say in who was going to be taking the ball after the snap.
He absolutely did.
I guarantee you, Justin was rallying for Dobbs this week. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, but I guarantee you that was. Jefferson was in on the discussion on who's going to be throwing him the ball. Outside of that, we've been a great road team this year. We've been a better road team than we have been a home team. And that to me is it's kind of, I'm happy that we're playing great on the road, because a lot of our teams in the past, I think there have been times where we went stretches without winning on the road for a long time.
Yeah.
And there was questions about us being able to play on grass, compared to turf and all that. But this year we've been playing great football on the road. Every single game this year has been competitive. We haven't had our ass whipped, which is one reason why we deserve to make the playoffs. You know, we can compete with anybody. We haven't been spanked. You know, I look for us to win this game, and I sure hope we flex our muscles this game because we need this. We need to. I hope we can get the win first and foremost, but I would love to get that 2-score, 3-score win and just get some more excitement around this team. Get people to forget about the mistakes from the Bears game and the Denver game, and let's get going back in the right direction. We got 5 games left in the season. Let's start winning them this week.
Yeah. And I hope to God that this team took that bye week to do a lot of self-reflection, to sit there and figure out, okay, what are we doing well? What are we doing poorly? How do we fix what we're doing poorly? How do we build on what we were doing well?
What does Josh do good? That's what we have going forward.
To your point, we've been a good road team this year, which is, 3 of our last 5 games are on the road. We're on the road this week. We're on the road next week against Cincy, and we also have to go to Detroit once. So, playing well on the road is going to bode well in our favor, I believe. And provided we do make the playoffs, we're going to be on the road for every game we got as right now. So,
as of right now, yes. Yeah, so that's fine by me. Like I said, we play good ball anywhere. I would love to be able to play better ball at home, especially in front of the fans and in front of the crowd. It's embarrassing to me that we can't win more games at home. And that's just been the tail of the tape since we got US Bank Stadium, and that's just the sad truth. We have trouble winning at home sometimes.
But with that, if this team has any intentions or any designs on actually being a playoff team this year, we have to win this game this week. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We have to beat the Raiders, and I think we can.
Yeah.
I heard some early reports that the way ticket sales are looking, there could be more Vikings fans in the seats than Raiders fans this week.
Nice.
I had saw one thing that was I thought they said 54% of the tickets sold were pointing towards being Vikings fans. So that home field advantage for the Raiders probably won't be as significant. So that's going to be a plus. If Josh Dobbs has got to go out, play Josh Dobbs football, let him freelance, let him do that kind of, the stuff that makes him,
like I said, you give him the reads, and if they aren't there, take off, Sonny.
Yeah. But yeah, we're basically in the playoffs now. The playoffs start this weekend. We have to go at least 3-2 to make the playoffs. As long as I'm happy. I'd be happy with 5-0. I'd love 5-0.
Let's go 1-0 this week and continue to move forward.
Right. But regardless, this team controls its own destiny. We take care of business. We're in the playoffs.
Right. We're not on the outside looking in. We're in. We're not on the outside trying to get in. We're in. Let's keep it that way.
Yep. So yeah, I think the Vikings come out, win the game, show the NFL that they're not dead yet, and we move on to 7-6 and keep our playoff hopes alive. So
yes.
But with that, guys, we have gone an hour and 10 here, a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but some great discussions tonight. Great comments from everybody in the chat. We love doing these live shows. The live shows are my favorite part of doing the podcast stuff because it's always fun interacting with everybody and the back and forth, and it's just kind of more off the cuff. And it's, we like to pride ourselves, we say we're the guys sitting at the bar talking football and having a beer kind of podcast. Doing live shows helps us to be even more of that, and I just enjoy the hell out of it. But want to give a big thanks to everybody again for joining us. If you haven't done so, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. all of that. We thank you guys that have already done so. Shout out to the fan club over in the Philippines, Noy, Jen, BB, the crew over there that listen to us every week. Appreciate you guys as well. And with that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
Man, it's great to be
Thank you,
back.
James.
For sure. My buddy Reggie, you guys all know Reggie. Go back and watch week one's version of Vikings Uncensored. He wasn't here tonight, but he had a bold, hot take for me. He wanted me to shout out tonight, and this is the perfect time to do it. Reggie thinks Dobbs threw 4 picks last week. Dobbs comes out this week and throws 4 touchdowns, 2 to Jefferson. The best medicine for Dobbs is exactly that. You come out this week and you throw 4 touchdowns and you don't turn the ball over. Yeah, that you'll be giving a lot of people a lot of things to talk about again.
Yeah,
and that's the way I would like to see it, And I would love to have Dobbs come out and just ball, throw 4 touchdowns, and we haven't seen Dobbs go over 20 yards rushing in the last 2 weeks in the game. I want to see those numbers back up to the 60s. I want to see Kevin O'Connell letting Josh Dobbs make plays with his legs as well, instead of forcing him, what it seems to be forcing him to stay in the pocket and make plays, which is not his game. Let him get out on the edges. Let him freelance a little bit, like pull the linebackers up, pull the corners up, and then just like Mahomes is very good at doing it and dropping it over the top. Exactly. Round pass option. I've been preaching that for the last 4 weeks with Dobbs. We need to see more of that. And that will get, the only thing that can do is make the teams haven't even seen that, us doing that much on tape. So, I guarantee you it will work. You start doing that, it will open up the run game. It will open up a lot of things, being able to have a good run pass option game, especially with the guy that we have running the show at quarterback. With that being said, let's get back. Let's get good. Let's get back on track this week. Let's get that faith building up again. And let's go 1-0 this week and then on to next week in Cincinnati. And with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Be smart. Don't make dumb decisions. Aubrey and Millie, if you're out there watching, Dad loves and misses you. Skull.
Have a good weekend, everybody.